Hi, Paul Avens here again with today's video coaching lesson, and today we're going to talk about cash. How do you get it, how do you get your hands on it quicker, and how do you keep more of it? In today's challenging economic times, turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash isn't just king, it's everything. More businesses are going bust right now because of lack of cash than because of lack of profitability. And this is a skill that you can master at any size of your business is at right now. It's absolutely essential that you know where the cash is and how to get it in. If you're not reporting your cash flow position, at least looking forward 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ahead or whatever's appropriate for you right now, that's one of the first reports you should be getting in place with your accountant or your bookkeeper, because you've got to have visibility of what's going out and what's potentially coming in. This links tightly with things like your sales process and perhaps your pipeline of where the new business is coming. The two have to work together. What I want to do though is give you 3 very simple quick strategies around collecting more of that cash that's out there. So the first thing is, look at your terms and conditions. Did you just conform with the rest of your industry and say, well, it's payment in 30 days? Was that your plan? Do you have an invoice layout that actually encourages people to pay longer? I get invoices from companies that say 30, 60, 90, 120 days. They have it in a box at the bottom. What they're subconsciously telling me as a customer is that it's okay to take 120 days to pay this invoice because they have a box for it. So look at your invoice layout. Do you give an incentive to get people to pay early to generate the cash? I'll give you an example. One of my clients who deals with the school market had a problem over the summer. Typically, he would go hugely into overdraft because the invoices that were generated in June and July wouldn't get paid until, in some cases, the end of September. This was a horrible cash flow situation and put him as the owner under great strain. Maybe you've experienced similar kind of pressure like this yourself. So what we did was look at the cost of being overdrawn, how much that cost the business, and it was a lot, and then went back to the schools and offered them an incentive to pay early, which was less than it was costing us to be overdrawn. The long short of it was that over 50% of the schools took up the option to pay early, which meant that his cash flow was nowhere near as painful as it was before, and in fact he was able to have a bit more of a relaxing August. So key thing is to look at how that's working for your business. How much is out there? What's your strategy for getting it in right now? The other thing is, give people more ways to pay. So how can they get that money to you? Give them the opportunity to perhaps pay by credit card. Look at PayPal, for example. One of my clients who's an online retailer recently introduced PayPal to test and measure it, and within about 2 months, 30% of their entire business was being done through PayPal. So look at that. Look at credit card payments. If you don't take them, should you? Yes, there's a charge, but you can pass that on to the customer. That's a margin strategy to make sure that you're not bearing that cost. So maybe you want to get up front, maybe 50% up front. Perhaps if you deliver things like a client of mine who installs exhibition stands, they get the majority of their money up front prior to building the stand, so that they're not carrying that cash flow burden until after the exhibition, which in some cases can be a lot of money. So look at what are the terms and conditions. Do you need to reevaluate them? And here's the thing, potential customers of yours have no idea about what the terms and conditions should be. They're going to take them from you as that's how you do business. If they don't like those terms and conditions, they won't buy. And that's okay. They're not an ideal client for you. So look at creating more different ways for people to pay the money. Standing order, direct debit, all kinds of different ways that you can collect that cash. The more variety you give them, the more chances you're going to collect it faster. Okay? So look at those 3 things. Collect the cash in fast, change your terms and conditions, look at your invoice layout, give people more ways to pay that money to you. The other thing as a bonus strategy I would give you here is if you're sat on old stock or things you no longer need in the business or no longer use, perhaps old office furniture, things like that, sell it, turn it back into cash, have a clearance sale, get rid of old stock, just sell it at cost if you have to, but get cash back in. This recently generated £100,000 of cash flow, positive cash flow for a client of mine who'd been sat on dead stock for over 9 months. It's never going to go up in value, it's only ever going to go down. So turn it back into cash fast and let's use it somewhere else, preferably in marketing, to grow the business. So that's today's lesson. Write down what are the 2 things you're going to do as a direct result of this. Write them down now. What are the 2 actions you're going to take? Because my goal with all of these is to get you to do something, to take action.